There's some people.
Welcome to the Raymond Town Meeting, annual town meeting. This is to Nathan White, a resident of the town of Raymond in the county of Cumberland, the state of Maine. Greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Raymond, qualified by law to vote in town affairs, to meet at the Jordan Small Middle School Gymnasium in said town on Tuesday, June 7th, 2016 at 6 p.m. Then and there to act on Articles 1 through 42 as set out below. The continuation of said meeting will be held at the Jordan Small Middle School Gymnasium in said town on Tuesday, the 14th of June, at 2016 at 7 o'clock in the forenoon, then and there to act upon by secret ballot on Article 43 as set out below. The polling hours thereof to be from 7 o'clock in the forenoon to 8 o'clock in the evening. So Article 1 is to elect a moderator to preside at said meeting. Is there a nomination?
I nominate Charlie Cregan.
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations?
Move that nomination cease.
Second.
So I need, if I could, a few volunteers to vote. And seeing none jumping up, I can volunteer a few from the front.
This is the way it really works.
There you go. Is that?
Yes.
You don't know, you have to do it.
Thank you. And after tallying the votes, it is unanimous. Mr. Cregan will be our moderator.
Close one.
It's all screwed up tonight.
Okay. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
good evening, everybody. I'm just so gratified with the overwhelming vote I got this year. Last year, there were 3 votes, and I only got 2 of them. So we've obviously redeemed ourselves this year. I have to be sworn in. I, Charles Cregan, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof, so help me God. I do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent upon me as moderator for the town of Raymond, according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help me God. I will sign it and date it. And my first official act as moderator is to appoint a deputy moderator for the town of Raymond. And I would ask if Suzanne Carr is present, and if so, if she would come forward, inasmuch as I have just appointed you as deputy moderator, and you must take the oath of office. Do you, Suzanne Carr, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as you shall continue a citizen thereof, so help you God?
I do.
And do you swear that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as deputy moderator for the town of Raymond, according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, Sue. The reason why it's so important for Sue Carr to serve as deputy moderator is otherwise I, as the moderator, would have to show up about 6:30 next Tuesday morning to open the polls for the municipal election. So I owe Sue big time, and she'll eke out some sort of payment, I'm sure. Thank you, Sue, for doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, the tradition of the Raymond Town Meeting is that we start with a salute to our flag. So I would ask if you would all stand. The flag is here on the wall, and join with me in pledging allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I have one critical announcement for some of the folks in this room, the men's room is not functioning. Therefore, those of you who feel compelled to take advantage of that facility will be directed to go to the boys' gymnasium facility, which is, I'm told, is that way. Okay, someplace over there are the locker rooms. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we had a bit of a technical glitch. You know, it's kind of like when you invite people to dinner. Some people you tell to come at 6, and then you find out that you told some other people to come at 6:30. Well, that essentially happened. One of the notices that went out said the town meeting would start at 6. The other notice that went out said it would start at 6:30. So in fairness to those who may be operating on the premise that the meeting starts at 6:30, what we're going to do is give you your first break of the evening by entertaining a motion from Teresa Sadak to recess until 6:30 p.m., which I understand Joe Bruno has seconded. Therefore, all in favor of standing in recess until 6:30 p.m. will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We're in recess. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll call the Raymond Town meeting back into session. For those of you who arrived after 6 p.m., let me introduce myself. I'm Charlie Cragen, and I was elected at 6 p.m. to serve as your moderator this evening. There were some discrepancies in the notice of the meeting time. Some notices indicated 6 p.m., others indicated 6:30 p.m. So we wanted to ensure that everyone had an equal opportunity to participate, and therefore the meeting was in recess until 6:30. Let me make a couple of announcements at the start. One, again, to reiterate, the men's room facility is inoperable. Those wishing to utilize such a facility may take advantage of the boys' locker room. If you have a cell phone, I'd appreciate it if you'd put it in some sort of non-audible situation. I'm not going to use that FAA thing because you don't have to put it in airplane mode. You just have to shut the sound off. We are going to be guided this evening by the table of motions, which is found on page 4 of the town report, which essentially lays out the priority of various parliamentary motions, and I will be happy to guide you through them at the appropriate time. Unless there's objection, I'm going to order that non-residents be permitted to participate in the discussion. They would not be permitted to participate in the vote. Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. People who are duly registered in the town have been issued a pink paper ballot. And when I call for a vote, I will ask that people respond by showing us the pink ballot. If there's confusion, we can move through a couple other parts of the process as far as getting a count. I'm going to read each article and the recommendation. At that point, the article will be before the meeting, and I'll ask for a motion to accept the article and a second. Discussion will then ensue until such time as we don't have anyone wanting to discuss it any further. If you do wish to discuss an article, please come to the microphone in the center of the room. The members of the Board of Selectmen are present tonight, as well as the Budget and Finance Committee. If you have a specific question that you want to direct to one of them, please direct it through me as the moderator. My basic approach is this. Brevity is a really good thing. Excursions are really bad. So focus on the issue, try to be as brief as you can. And if you go off on an excursion to the extent that I can recognize it to be an excursion, I'll probably try to get you back on the bus. So with that, we're gonna do some legislating first, and then we're gonna spend some money second. Article 2, and this appears from pages 5 through 30 in your warrant book, if you want to scan it. Article 2, shall Sections 12, Nonconformance, Section 13, Establishment of Shoreland Districts, Section 15, Land Use Standards, Section 16, Administration, and Section 17, Definitions of the Shoreland Zoning Provisions of the Town of Raymond, as adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 3, 2015, be further amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the strike-through type as shown. The Planning Board recommends Article 2. The Selectmen recommend Article 2. Is there a motion to accept Article 2? So moved. Is it seconded?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept Article 2. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor will indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 2 is adopted. Article 3 appears on pages 30 to 39 in the warrant. Article 3, shall Articles 9X1, Stormwater Quality and Phosphorus Control Applicability, 9X2, Application Review, 9X2A, Point System of the Raymond Land Use Ordinance as adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 3, 2015, be further amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below. The Planning Board recommends Article 3. The Selectmen recommend Article 3. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept Article 3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting Article 3? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 3 is adopted. Article 4 appears on pages 39 and 40 of the warrant. Article 4, shall Article 12, applicability and definition of terms used in this ordinance of the Raymond Land Use Ordinance and Section 17, definitions of the shoreland zoning provisions, be further amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below. The Planning Board recommends Article 4. The Selectmen recommend Article 4. Is there a motion to adopt Article 4?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 4. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Article 4 is adopted. Article 5 appears on pages 40 to 49 of the warrant. Shall Section 16G, Administration, Appeals of the Shoreland Zoning Provisions, as adopted May 21, 1994, and amended through June 3, 2015, and Article 6, Board of Appeals of the Land Use Ordinance, be further amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below. The Planning Board recommends Article 5. The Selectmen recommend Article 5. Is there discussion? Can we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept Article 5. Discussion? Would you come to the microphone? Please identify yourself by your name and your residence, please.
Thank you. I'm Peter Morgan, a resident on Bridges Lane, Raymond Cape. I'm concerned about the removal of the Board of Appeals from board decisions, and I wonder why this is in the best interest of Raymond.
Thank you. We'll see if we can find someone in a position of authority to answer your question. I think Mr. Hanson, the Code Enforcement Officer, is approaching the microphone, and when he arrives, he'll be recognized. Mr. Hanson.
Thank you. Bruce Hanson, Code Enforcement Officer, also a resident at 5 Crockett Road. We were faced with a...
Guess you're going to have to speak into that microphone, Chris.
Okay, I'll try to speak a little louder.
There you go.
Recently, there was a decision of the planning board that went to the appeals board in the last year. During that process, we realized that our ordinance didn't speak very clearly to what should happen if a planning decision goes to the appeals board. On the advice of our attorney, we've cleaned that language up. The only thing that would not go to the appeals board at this time would be a decision of the planning board, which would go directly to Superior Court. The explanation from the town attorneys are that in most cases, it would be duplicative. You could go through the appeals board process at the appeals board, but then ultimately end up in Superior Court. The other reasons given were that you have one board of town officials overseeing another board. The planning board has expertise in the land use ordinance and the performance standards of our town land use and shoreline zoning ordinances. The Zoning Board of Appeals does not have the same expertise, and I believe that if you polled the appeals board, they felt quite uncomfortable reviewing what the planning board did. It also turned out to be quite expensive and exhaustive on our resources at the town of Raymond. We had in the case that I'm speaking of, we had attorneys representing the planning board and attorneys representing the appeals board. Those get very expensive when you bring in an attorney to review something, and in this case, it was a planning board decision that took years to get through the planning board approval process. For that attorney to get up to speed, it cost the town a great deal of money. So it was on the advice of the attorney. We're not trying to take anybody's rights away. Staff felt that this was a better way and a better approach to handle appeals of the planning board only. Administrative decisions to the code officer or variance appeals or setback reductions would still go to the appeals board. I hope that gives some clarity.
All right. Ma'am, you're closer to the microphone. There's a gentleman queuing up behind you.
Thank you. My name is Barbara Lovell, and I take offense at delimiting or erasing the option that we now have and enjoy of being able to appeal a decision made by our planning board by going to a jury of peers, neighbors, residents, rather than be pushed, financially very pushed, to a judge in the Superior Court who has little or no real feeling for the community at large and in small. Several of us have addressed this to the boards in verbally and in writing, and I feel that there are enough of us that question when told that it would help us get in step with the rest of other communities. After a very brief search, we found 13 towns around us that do it exactly the way we are doing it now and enjoying the process. I would like to see a continuum of the process, and if it is a burden, it is the burden that is going to be transferred to the resident rather than the boards that are serving us. Thank you.
Sir.
My name is John Ewalt. I live at 121 Wild Acres. I'm a non-resident. I would like, though, to register my opposition to this article for the following reasons. First of all, as mentioned previously, town appeals boards are in better position to understand the issues when deciding appeals of planning board decisions. Secondly, it's not clear to me how exactly a judge in Portland is going to be able to understand and interpret Raymond's zoning ordinances when these zoning ordinances were enacted at town meetings like this with members of the planning board and also zoning board of appeal in attendance, so they know the intent of the laws. The reason that this Fry Island appeal came up, which generated this article before you tonight, is because the planning board got bad advice from the town attorney. Had the planning board been given more correct advice, there would not have been a need for an appeal. The applicant would have been denied based on other reasons. For example, being able to know that a 500-foot distance to a main entrance, it does not meet a requirement that a parking lot entrance has to be within 300 feet. An elementary school student could have figured that out, but our town attorney didn't seem to think that that was important. The other thing that briefly alluded to are the significant costs and the inconvenience for town residents wanting to file an appeal of a planning board decision. Those who work for a living would have to take time off from work, drive down to Portland, while the attorney just leaves their office in downtown Portland, walks around the corner, and stops in the courtroom. Then the case gets continued, and the person making the appeal and any witnesses they might have to make a second trip or a third trip to be able to get the issue resolved. The way things are today, the Zoning Board of Appeals meets in the evenings. People can come after work. It makes it more transparent to people. People can appeal things more readily, and they can do it themselves. They don't have to have an attorney necessarily. Finally, the appeals process, the way it is today, is more transparent. If you want to know what's going on in the appeal, watch the live streaming on the web or the town channel, which broadcasts the planning board as well as appeals board hearings. The other point that was made was that all the towns surrounding Sebago Lake have an appeals board capable and authorized to review planning board decisions. So we're not out of step. The suggestion that was made for this article really comes out of the attorneys who would rather have their evenings off, I believe, in my opinion, rather than trucking out here to Raymond and some of the other surrounding towns to attend local board meetings. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir.
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. Just a point of information, do we know what the decision of the appeal was as far as the appeals board? Did they reverse the decision of the planning board?
I'm advised that they did, Mr.
Yes,
Levitt.
they did. Okay.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, may I ask that we hear from the chair of the planning board, Mr. O'Neill?
Mr. O'Neill, Mr. Bruno has asked for you to share your wisdom.
I appreciate that. Bob O'Neill, Spring Valley Road. Normally, I would fall on the side of let's keep it out of the courts and handle it amongst ourselves whenever possible. I mean, I would rather see everything handled within the community. But I think the problem in this process is that the planning board has a specific set of legal guidelines that we must follow when we review a project. Those, apparently, the Zoning Board of Appeals, in my understanding of how this process went last time, does not have those same restrictions. So you have the same project being reviewed by 2 different boards with 2 different guidelines to follow those to make that decision. So not being on the legal side of this and not being a lawyer, but I would assume that if you have 2 different decisions based upon 2 different sets of guidelines, you're heading to Superior Court, regardless. So I would say that we might as well save the expense and skip the process of the Zoning Board of Appeals and go directly to Superior Court. So the last thing I would say in this is, so how often does this happen? You know, are we doing this like once a week? I've been on the planning board, I was trying to figure that out, about 20 years or so, and this has never come up. We've never, in fact, I've read for the last 10 or 12 years a statement that said all planning board decisions must be appealed to Superior Court. That handout was given to me by the prior chairman, which was given to him by the prior chairman, who was given to her by the prior chairman. So for about 25 years or so, maybe even longer, we have been under the assumption that this has been the process that Raymond has followed. And the only reason why we're here today is because when the lawyers dug into the ordinances, they found a way to get around that and to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So that's where we stand. Like I said, I would rather keep it inside the community, but I don't think really that is possible when you have two boards using different sets of rules looking at that same project. You're going to wind up in the courts anyway. Mr. Bruno, did I answer your question?
You did a fine job.
Thank you, sir.
Could we get an assist with a microphone?
I'm Marley Turner, 31 Big Pine Road. I was on the planning board for 11 years, obviously before the present one. I thought I did very well, that we had appeals when they were needed. I thought the appeals board worked very well. I don't understand what's happened to make it so difficult now. I think keeping it in the community is what I want to do as much as possible. Thank you.
You can come up and state your point of information.
Since appeals are so rare, no one can seem to remember the last time there was one. That would seem to indicate that the current process should stay in place, because it's, come to me in a minute, it's the...
Sir, it doesn't sound to me like this is a point of...
not appeal.
Excuse me.
Point of information was, sir, that the...
That point of information is when you express a query, not when you come up and re-advocate.
Okay. The question then would be, did the Zoning Board of Appeals decision go to court on appeal?
All right, you've heard the question. Chris Hansen, can you answer that question?
It did not. That would indicate that
you got the answer to your question.
Louise Lester, 10 Hartley. Louise Lester.
Speak right up, Louise, so the people in the back of the room can hear you.
Go. Louise Lester, 10 Hartley Lane. First of all, I apologize for being late. In this issue, I honestly think, having watched our boards work for a number of years, that Raymond is no longer a small town. We're growing, we have a lot of expensive properties, and I think there is a need for our boards to be relieved from the responsibility that they presently have. They've done a wonderful job in the past, but personally I think I would, as a town, rather see a legal mind make these decisions than well-intentioned amateurs. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. The motion before the body is the adoption, the acceptance of Article 5 as presented. Those in favor of adopting Article 5 will indicate with their pink paper ballots. Thank you. Those opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Article 6. Article 6 is on pages 49 and 50. Shall locations throughout the land use ordinance, subdivision regulations, and the fire protection ordinance where fees are identified to be changed to read as found in the Town of Raymond Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals fee schedule. Additionally, shall the fees and penalties ordinance adopted October 1986 and amended through June 3, 2015 be further amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below. The Planning Board recommends Article 6. The Selectmen recommend Article 6. Is there a motion to adopt Article 6?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 6. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the adoption? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 6 is adopted. Article 7 is on page 50 of the warrant book. Shall the Land Use Ordinance Article 9, Section Q, Lot Coverage, and Article 12, Definitions, be amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below? The Planning Board recommends Article 7. The Selectmen recommend Article 7. Is there a motion to adopt Article 7?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. We adopt Article 7. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 7 is adopted. Article 8, pages 50 to 54 in the warrant. Shall the Fire Protection Ordinance of the Town of Raymond, miscellaneous ordinances, be amended by adding the underscored language and deleting the language in strike-through type as shown below? The Planning Board recommends Article 8. The Selectmen recommend Article 8. Is there a motion to adopt Article 8?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 8. Any discussion? Teresa?
I have a question regarding the C that we're putting in. A permit shall be obtained by the fire chief and/or his appointee. Question 1 is it have to be a certain person? And I guess I'm directing this at Bruce just because he's the fire chief. Does it have to be somebody that's certified, regulated? I know we have a fire inspector, so is it him? And my concern is we have a part-time fire inspector. I know you're busy too with other things. I don't want to hold up progress with people getting permits. So I guess I want to know how that works, and we have somebody covered to be able to do that.
Bruce Tupper, Fire Rescue Chief, Town of Raymond, and also a resident of 118 Valley Road. It does cover that in that it's the fire chief or the appointee, so David and or anybody else working in that capacity could issue that permit. Also at the office, if someone came in during the day and neither one of us were available, admin would be able to issue a permit form for that.
Don't they have to inspect it first?
And then the inspection would follow. This is the permit obtained prior to, before any construction and or alteration. Usually, generally, we'll see plans on it beforehand anyways.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion on Article 8? Hearing none, all in favor of adoption of Article 8? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 8 is adopted. No, Louise, Article 9 is part of the minimum standards. That's part of the Article 7. There's a lot of articles floating around in the book. The articles that we're voting on are the gray bolded articles. But thank you for calling it to my attention, because now we're going to get into those that are not gray bounded. There seems to be a formatting issue. Article 9, to see if the town will vote pursuant to 23 Maine Revised Statutes annotated section 2953 that orders of the municipal officers with respect to the closing of roads to winter maintenance shall be a final determination. The Selectmen recommend Article 9. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
We're on page 55 of the warrant. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 9. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 9 is adopted. All right, now we're going to start spending money with Article 10. And these are all on page 55 of your warrant for a while. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen on behalf of the town to sell and dispose of any property acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes pursuant to the policy adopted by the selectmen, as may be amended from time to time, the policy to remain consistent with state statutes and laws, in all cases conveyance to be made by municipal quitclaim deed. The Selectmen recommend Article 10. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 10. Is there a motion to adopt Article 10?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 10. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the adoption of Article 10? Thank you. Opposed? Article 10 is adopted. Article 11, to see what date taxes will be due and to set an interest rate for unpaid amounts. The Selectmen recommend one half to be due October 31, 2016, and second half to be due April 30, 2017, with interest at 7% on any unpaid balances. The Selectmen recommend Article 11. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 11. Is there a motion to adopt Article 11?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of adoption of Article 11? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 11 is adopted. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to set the interest rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes at 7% for the fiscal year. The Selectmen recommend Article 12. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 12. Is there a motion to adopt Article 12?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We adopt Article 12. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the adoption of Article 12? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 12 is adopted. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to dispose of town-owned personal property with value not to exceed $35,000. The Selectmen recommend Article 13. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 13. Is there a motion to adopt Article 13?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 13. Is there discussion? Certainly. They'll get you the microphone, though, because it's being recorded. We have to keep a record. There may be an appeal.
My question is, personal property used to be personal property in our own place, like computers and things. Is that what you mean here, or what do you mean by town-owned personal property?
Would a member of the Board of Selectmen or the town manager like to answer the question? What is meant by town-owned personal property is the question.
A good example would be a surplus piece of equipment, like a piece of fire apparatus. We sold a truck this past year to the town of Fry Island, and that was around $20,000, I think. And so we oftentimes will sell things like that in the course of the year, buy and sell equipment. The town uses a lot of used equipment, a lot of surplus equipment. So relative to the whole, it's sort of a de minimis purchase and then an equally small sale, but we're regularly buying and selling equipment like that to try to keep our fleet as up to date as we can.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption of Article 13? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 13 is adopted. We're moving to Article 14, which is on page 56 of your warrant, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to borrow from or appropriate from undesignated fund balance surplus as they deem advisable to meet the unanticipated needs of the community that occurred during the fiscal year with amount not to exceed $75,000. The selectmen recommend Article 14. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 14. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 14. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption of Article 14? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 14 is adopted. Article 15, still on page 56. To see if the town will authorize the selectmen for the fiscal year 2016-2017 to transfer funds between appropriation accounts as long as the grand total of all appropriations is not exceeded. Any such transfers to be approved only at a properly called public meeting of the selectmen. The selectmen recommend Article 15. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 15. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 15. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption? Thank you. Those opposed? I do see you back there, and I'm counting your vote. Thank you. Article 15 is adopted. Article 16, To see if the town will vote to authorize the use of town employees and/or town-owned equipment or independent contractor or contractors hired by the town for maintenance on private roads in special and certain circumstances wherein the public's interest. Note of explanation. 3 examples of when the use of town employees and equipment may be necessary. A, tying in work done on a public road that intersects a private road. B, plowing snow on a private road to clear the way for emergency response apparatus. And C, in rare or emergency situations, maintaining private roads for school bus access to special education students as deemed necessary. The Selectmen recommend Article 16. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 16. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 16. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 16 is adopted. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector or treasurer to accept prepayments of taxes not yet committed pursuant to 36 Maine Revised Statutes annotated Section 506. The Selectmen recommend Article 17. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 17. Is there a motion to adopt?
Second.
I was waiting for that second. It's been moved and seconded. All right, ma'am, can you wait on that microphone? We might ought to issue you that microphone.
This seems so logical. Why do you have to make a motion on this? It seems so logical. I don't know why you have to vote on that.
Well, because I guess if you don't vote on it, then the town isn't authorizing the tax collector or treasurer to accept such prepayments. It's called government. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption of Article 17? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 17 is adopted. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $200,968.
No.
I'm reading $200,968. Well,
Which one is right?
all right. I guess we're going to have a conference because
The book has one number.
Nancy?
Nancy, what number you have? The book is right?
Which book?
312.
all right. Yeah, we just saved $100,000.
No, you saved 2,000. No, 8,000.
Oh, 196. I'm sorry. I'm just curious as to how this different number shows up.
I think that's when you do.
Okay.
That was
All right.
last year's number.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to the book on page 57 to see if the town will vote to appropriate $196,312 from the tax increment of the pipeline/RT, I assume that's Route 302, Tax Increment Financing District for fiscal year 2016-2017 projects proposed in the Tax Increment Financing District Development Program. Note, included in this item are Raymond Casco Historical Society, $1,800, RWPA Milfoil Program, $20,000, CPCOG, that acronym was big enough so I looked it up, Greater Portland Council of Governments, annual dues, $4,436. The Selectmen recommend Article 18. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 18.
Move Article 18.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 18. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 18 is adopted. I only got one more discrepancy when I get to it. Article 19, to to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $458,426 for the administration account. The Selectmen recommend Article 19. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 19.
Move Article 19.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on Article 19? Okay, she's not coming to the microphone. Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Those opposed? Article 19 is adopted. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $56,261 for the assessing account. The Selectmen recommend Article 20. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 20. Is there a motion?
Move Article 20.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 20. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 20 is adopted. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $102,900 for the Code Enforcement Department account. The Selectmen recommend Article 21. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 21. Is there a
Move
motion?
Article 21.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 21. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 21 is adopted. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $23,615 for the Town Hall account. The Selectmen recommend Article 22. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 22.
Move Article 22.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 22. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 22 is adopted. Yeah, I've already figured that out. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $515,480 for the insurance account. The Selectmen recommend Article 23. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 23.
Move Article 23.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 23. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 23 is adopted. Have you checked out the next page for me, Sue? Huh? All right. Well, I'll run a double ledger entry system here for the moment. Okay, when we get to 35. All right, thank you. All right, Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000 for the General Assistance account. The Selectmen recommend Article 24. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 24.
Move Article 24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we adopt Article 24. Is there a discussion? Yes, ma'am.
What is it that $6,000 takes care of? It doesn't sound like that's very much to take care of for general assistance. Is there very little general assistance needed in the town?
Mr. Willard, would you like to answer that?
Yes. Comparative to other towns, there is very little general assistance. However, there's also the Raymond Community Assistance Fund, which is comprised of privately given monies that we can use in addition to the general assistance. And so it's not as tightly governed. It doesn't have the strictures upon it that the general assistance fund has. So oftentimes in Raymond, we have people who are what I would characterize as working poor, who are struggling to make ends meet. They don't qualify per se for general assistance, but we can help them with Raymond Community Assistance. However, that's not to say that we don't have people who need general assistance from time to time. It's really a program of last resort, though, and so we're very fortunate to have it. And I guess, on average, we're fortunate that we don't have to use it to the degree that some of our neighboring communities do.
Any further discussion?
Nick?
Yes, please.
Brian Walker, Rolfe Road. Also, there's funding that comes from the state that matches that, so it's actually a larger number available. Don, is it a one-to-one?
Yeah, it's one-to-one.
Okay. So we provide $6,000 and the state provides $6,000. They match our funding.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to direct your questions through the moderator, because if not, we start having conversations.
All right, I am listening to other towns. I do listen to other towns, and I just am asking this because I am interested. I didn't catch the name of the other fund you said, besides the local one and the state matching. It's a community something. And how much is that usually?
How much money is in the Community Assistance Fund? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Order of magnitude about $25,000.
Thank you.
And it changes, though, regularly because people have made it a part of their annual giving program, thankfully. So people are encouraged to give, and it's used a lot for fuel assistance in the wintertime. Lots of other towns have adopted such funds. I think when we did ours, we might have been the second town in Maine to do that. So it's been a very, very good thing.
Any further discussion on Article 24? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption of Article 24? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 24 is adopted. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $184,271 for the Technology Department account. The Selectmen recommend Article 25. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 25. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. We adopt Article 25. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. Article 25 is adopted. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $41,488 for the Community Development account. The Selectmen recommend Article 26. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 26. Is there a motion?
Move Article 26.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 26 is adopted. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $684,221 for the Fire Rescue Department account. The Selectmen recommend Article 27. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 27.
Move Article 27.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adoption? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. Article 27 is adopted. Article 28, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $16,222 for the Animal Control account. The Selectmen recommend Article 28. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 28. Is there a motion?
Move Article 28.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. Article 28 is adopted. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $21,816 for the infrastructure account. The Selectmen recommend Article 29. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 29. Is there a motion?
Move Article 29.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on Article 29? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 29 is adopted. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $690,790 for the Public Works account. The Selectmen recommend Article 30. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 30.
Move Article 30.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we adopt Article 30? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 30 is adopted. We're in page 59 of the warrant book. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $316,262 for the solid waste account. The Selectmen recommend Article 31. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 31.
Move Article 31.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 31 passes unanimously. Historic, first time tonight. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,841 for the employee compensation and training account. The selectmen recommend Article 32. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 32. Is there a motion?
Move Article 32.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 32 is adopted. Article 33, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $27,164 for the cemeteries account. The selectmen recommend Article 33. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 33.
Move Article 33.
It's been moved and seconded. Did I hear a second?
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 33. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Are you just scratching your head or are you voting twice? No. Article 33 is adopted. Maybe in Chicago, but not in Raymond. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,788 for the Parks and Recreation account. Included are materials, maintenance, equipment, $2,500, contract services, $8,688, Raymond Rattlers Snowmobile, $1,600, Raymond Baseball/Softball, $1,000, and Agawam Mowing/Soccer, $2,000. The selectmen recommend Article 34. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 34.
Move Article 34.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 34. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 34 is adopted. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $56,500 for the Raymond Village Library. The selectmen recommend Article 35. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 35. Is there a motion?
Move Article 35.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 35. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption of Article 35? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 35 is adopted. Article 36, to see whether the town will vote to carry forward any existing fund balance in the Capital Improvement Program, CIP, account. The selectmen recommend Article 36. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 36.
Move Article 36.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 36. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 36 is adopted. We're now on page 60 of the warrant. Article 37, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $986,772 for the capital improvement account. Included are Public Works Equipment Reserve, $85,000. 2013 Public Works Road Construction Bond Payment, $236,000. Public Works Paving/Road Reserve, $275,000. Municipal Facilities Maintenance and Improvements, $25,000. The 2002 PSB Bond Payment, $110,772. Fire Department Equipment/Facilities, $150,000. Bond payment for fire truck/sand-salt shed, $105,000. The selectmen recommend Article 37. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 37.
Move Article 37.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 37. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 37 is adopted. Article 38, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $676,263 for the county tax account. The selectmen recommend Article 38. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 38. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Louise motioned it.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. You know, you get a railroad train going, but you got to keep it going. You got to keep the coal in the boiler. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 38. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 38 is adopted. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the total sum of $1,625,579 from estimated non-property tax revenues to reduce the property tax commitment, together with all categories of funds which may be available from the federal government and any other sources. The Selectmen recommend Article 39. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 39.
Move Article 39.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 39. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the adoption? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 39 is adopted. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Selectmen to accept or reject grants, donations, and/or gifts of money to the town of Raymond, and to expend monies donated for specific purposes. The Selectmen recommend Article 40. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 40.
Move Article 40.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Article 40. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 40 is adopted. Article 41, to see if the town will vote to accept certain state funds as provided by the Maine State Legislature during the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016, and any other funds provided by any other entity included but not limited to municipal revenue sharing, local road assistance, emergency management assistance, snowmobile registration money, tree growth reimbursement, general assistance reimbursement, veterans exemption reimbursement, state grant, or other funds. The Selectmen recommend Article 41. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 41. Is there a motion?
Move Article 41.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of Article 41? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Article 41 is adopted. Article 42, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $6,800 from the Open Space Reserve Fund to be used for the purchase of property for the Raymond Community Forest by the Loon Echo Land Trust. The Selectmen make no recommendation for Article 42. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 42. Is there a motion?
I'll move Article 42.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 42. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Russ Hutchinson, North Raymond Road, and I'm also a member of the Conservation Commission, and I'd just like to encourage the town to approve this article. It will complete the fundraising for the purchase of the land. The land is about 350 acres on the eastern side of Crescent Lake. The picture on the front cover is a picture taken from that land, and we're pretty excited about bringing this project to fruition, and I'd just like to encourage everyone to vote for this article. Thank you.
Sir, are you coming to a microphone, or are you just saying goodnight? No. Okay, just wanted to check.
Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. Point of information. Has the land already been purchased, and is this money for something other than the land?
Sheila Burke, Hancock Road, Raymond. No, the land has not been purchased. We're still gathering and putting together the pieces and parts, and it is not for something other than actual application to the purchase of the land.
You want a rejoinder here, Mr. Levitt?
Please.
Well, you're just destroying my streak. I was about to win the pool.
I know, you were going good. So I'm just a little confused. I thought I heard at a select board meeting a discussion about whether the money was actually going to be used for trail signs and maintenance and trail construction, and that actually the money to actually purchase the property had already been raised. Can someone clarify that for me?
Sir, are you coming to a microphone, or are you just saying goodnight? Okay, just wanted to check. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt Article 43. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Article 44 is adopted. Article 45, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $6,800 from the Open Space Reserve Fund to be used for the purchase of property for the Raymond Community Forest by the Loon Echo Land Trust. The Selectmen recommend Article 44. The Budget Finance Committee recommends Article 44. Is there a motion?
Move Article 42.
Second. Someone on the Budget Finance Committee? I would note that the article says to appropriate $6,800 from the Open Space Reserve Fund to be used for the purchase of property. Purchase of property. That's what the article says. Is there any further discussion? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor of the adoption of Article 42? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. Article 42 is adopted. You know, when I was a young lawyer working in the legislature, there was a guy named David J. Kennedy who was the Speaker of the House of Representatives from Millbridge, Maine. And he said to me one day, he said, "Charlie, sometimes you got to be careful when you get up and start making a speech because you just attract flies. Sometimes it's easier to just let them vote." Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached Article 43, and Article 43 is the election aspect of the town meeting. And therefore, unless there is any other business, which there shouldn't be, to come before this town meeting portion, I am going to ask for an adjournment motion, but this is an adjournment motion that adjourns us until Tuesday, June 14th at 7 a.m. when my distinguished deputy moderator, Sue Carr, will reconvene this town meeting. And therefore, I would entertain a motion that the town meeting adjourn until 7 a.m. on Tuesday, June 14, 2016.
Chair, before you do that,
I understand Teresa has an announcement she'd like to make.
Do you want to do the motion, or do you want?
No, you can interrupt the motion because once I pass on the motion, we're adjourned.
Okay. Next Tuesday is voting day, and one person's name that you will not see on the voting day is Mike Reynolds.
You might want to speak into that a little further.
Pretty loud usually. Next Tuesday is voting day, and Mike Reynolds' name will not be on the ballot. He is retiring from the select board after 12 years. And I want to give a big thank you to him for his time, his energy, his patience, his knowledge, all of it. So thank you, Mike, for everything you've contributed to the town of Raymond.
Mike, you can entertain a point of personal privilege if you'd like to say anything.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right. In that case, I believe I'm looking for a motion to adjourn until 7 a.m. on Tuesday, June 14, 2016.
so moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. This is a non-debatable motion. All in favor of adjournment? Those opposed? Those opposed may stay here until they close the place. We are adjourned.